Any of y'all think it's funny that my favorite place, one of my favorite places that I'm going to right now, is Cracker Barrel? If you know, you know. Don't worry, I won't drink any cranberry juice. I also find it wild that the OG Stanley Meyer himself was from Grove City, Ohio, which is not far from where I'm at. I've actually driven past the road that he supposedly had his main operations at. If I remember correctly, I couldn't find it though. It was as if that address didn't even exist. It was very strange. Maybe I'll go back there someday, do a video on it.
This is Stan's Revenge.
So with this thing, pulsing about 36% duty pulse, we achieve an easy 40 volts at the cell. 1 amp of consumption, so just a little bit over 30 watts. We've got some production. This is during the pulse off time. You see that beautiful equal opposite pulse being on the off pulse. Allows us to get our pulse width down to 36%. Saves us a lot of amperage. Flipping the primary, we get equal opposite polarity here. Similar amp consumption, similar voltage, but now we're able to pump up the duty pulse. So we reach a maximum there, we gotta take it back down. It's a 57% duty pulse. So this is being created during the pulse on time now. Able to achieve a slightly higher voltage, but we are consuming many more amps. That seems to be our sweet spot right here. Crank this up all the way. 43 volts at the cell. Modified my primary driver, just put a gap between these two terminals, so just these two and these two are connected. So I can put these resistors from my snubber in a series position here. Just a little more compact to fit in there without also janky. I think that's a total of 2 kilo ohm right there. For fun, I disconnected the Inductor B and we just have a primary bifilar wind. And then the other coil is the Inductor A bifilar wound. And we get voltage almost to 40 volts here, but we're half an amp input. And I think I need to ground this thing here. 28% duty cycle. It's not bad. Getting production is appropriate for that voltage level, but if I am only putting half an amp in here at 30 volts, I estimate I could probably dump 60 volts in here, 80, 90 volts into here, and only be consuming a few amps. And given the circuit will handle it, that might push voltage to 50, maybe 60 volts, maybe more. I think that might be a key to being able to get the high voltage on there at a low amperage, is to do it during pulse off time, so you can reduce the the input pulse as low as possible. Only be consuming half an amp input, an amp too. Something definitely these coils right here can handle. Blew my Mosfet. It's been a minute. Good thing is
I always carry two. Always.
In the name of science. I know you can't be changing frequency when I got voltage that high. It's my bad. There you go. 98% duty cycle. I'm gonna push. No, I'm gonna leave it at 91. I have voltage on the cell here. Slapping right up at 48 volts. Chewing a bunch of amps though. Cells definitely like that voltage though. We have higher amperage across the cell too. beautiful equal opposite polarity pulses on that big fat 90% pulse wave. It's like forcing those electrons in those cells. Looks nice though. I'm gonna swap these two red leads here. Damn, I just killed another one. I'm on a roll. What the I'm like, is my snubber working over here? What the? I don't think my snubber's working. When am I gonna stop breaking stuff when I fix stuff? I feel like a damn coder. Keep blowing my Mosfets. What the F? Okay. Easy 40 volts at only 13 volts in, 1.2 amp. Cells are producing appropriately. About 860 hertz, 80% duty cycle. I'm gonna pop this off here. You can see, not me. Focus over there. There you go. $45 volts. 46 volts. That's our waveform. Don't want to run it forever. It's looking pretty nice. Just pulses. Now I've noticed here too, as I increase voltage here, this peak will come back from here and it'll start kind of morphing its way back. The more I pump up voltage, like a phase shift. It's pretty wild. You can see what I'm talking about here. Peak builds and then moves backwards. Wow. There's 40 volts at 11 watts of power. No secondary inductor in all this, guys. This is primary bifilar wind, secondary bifilar wind, center tap, and then right now I have this second opposite wound inductor. It's also bifilar wound, but I have it in a dual mode right now. No bifilar, no Inductor B, and we still get equal opposite polarity pulses without that secondary inductor. Inductor B just doesn't need to exist, guys. It's Inductor B is the secondary coil. I'm affirmative on that. Why have a secondary inductor when you already have the waveform you need and you have the same amount of voltage that you were getting previously and less amp consumption? Only makes sense. But I do believe these are opposite direction wound as far as this bifilar coil versus this bifilar coil. I'd like to wrap one that is all the same direction to see how that works. Also, take some measurements here to perhaps balance coil, that secondary negative coil after the center tap, balance that with the inductor here and see what that would do. Not having my matrix switcher is really a pain in the butt, but I'm probably going to rewire this here so I can at least easy clip my connections again, just have it hardwired, like a manual type connection, so I can at least know what's going where rather than old school alligator clips. Bah. Sorry, it is indeed on the positive side. This leads to the inductor A, but the polarity is reversed, guys. Here this is again. We have our bifilar secondary center tap, the wire coming out of this going to our diode in reverse polarity, then going out to my inductor to the cell. So that whole thing I'm talking about, the diode reversed, it can be used either way, but with the diode reversed, you are able to create the pulses during the pulse off time, reducing that gate and allowing a much lower amperage consumption and pretty close to the same voltage level. So I'm sure with the right mathematics, we can make that pulse during the pulse off time very, very powerful, while also keeping that pulse input very, very low. I just fried my last Mosfet, so that's in for tonight. That's in for this week, unless Amazon can get them here sooner. I'll have to find out.
2 hours later.
I love Amazon. We're back in action tomorrow, guys. Go try a bunch of new stuff. Just fiddling around the day, trying different configurations. More to come.
This is Stan's Revenge.